What's up, everybody, and welcome to ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. You can always join us live over on twitch.tv/theofficial ITG, as well as YouTube at ITG. But if you can't join us live, hit us up later. InsideTheGame.ca, podcast services, and TV streaming networks around the globe. Coming up on today's show is a hot one as Scott just rejoins us back here on the show.
That's right. I thought I heard something.
Yeah, that'd be me. Yeah, we got a hot show again, as always.
Oh no, I've lost your mic.
There you go. I'm back now.
No.
There it is.
There
It's
we
back.
go. Now you're
Okay.
back.
I see how that's going to be, dude. It's going to be one of those days. But let's get back into the show as we got a hot one because Ubisoft Star Wars game is going to be a very big year for Ubisoft in 2023. Sony is diving deeper into cloud gaming, and IO Interactive is changing it up with Hitman name change and some free games.
Yeah, supposedly reducing some of the confusion there. Not quite sure I see it yet. I'm still confused.
It's been a bit of a mumbled mess over the last few years of like, what version of Hitman do you have? Do you have season 1? Do you have season 2? Do you have only part of season 1 and only part of season? Like it's been really confusing. So I'm glad that they're going with this new format, and we'll get into it. But first off, let's get into what Star Wars is happening over in the world of Ubisoft. Ubisoft Star Wars game in 2023 is going to be huge for us, Dev says. Eddie McCooch over at GameSpot says this: the developer of Ubisoft's popular Division series is making a big new Star Wars game, and its creative director believes 2023 will be a huge year for the studio making the title. Posting on Twitter, Julian Girardi said 2023 is going to be huge for us. After the tweet generated a good amount of intrigue and interest, with some speculating that the untitled game might release in 2023. Scott, I instantly kind of thought that myself.
Yeah,
just the phrasing
I don't think
of
we
it, right?
I don't think we had seen or heard anything official for quite some time. But
no, that's the biggest thing. There is nothing official right now. So when he was going on about his tweet, he kind of backed up and said, quote, "To be clear, I meant that 2023 will be huge for our team building our game." End quote. I'm like, aha, that's too bad, because I would have loved to have seen a Star Wars game coming out of them for 2023. But what do we have in the pipeline then as far as anything from Ubisoft 2023? Well, Scott, we do have a couple things, right? Like, we do know we are getting Mirage. We're going to get Assassin's Creed Mirage in Skull and Bones, and that is about it. There were rumors that possibly an opportunity of getting their Avatar game. What is it? Frontiers of Pandora or something like that?
I think that's correct, yeah. Oh no, we've lost your mic a second time. This is going beyond belief, actually. We've struggled with this microphone issue internally for a couple days now. But
dude, what a mess.
This has got to be the worst it's performed.
Of all times, too, right? Never fails. I was kind of hoping we would see Pandora, Frontiers of Pandora this year. We didn't get a Ubisoft Connect last year, and I kind of thought we would around the E3 timeframe, right? Get a little, here's what we're getting into for 2023 moving forward with Ubisoft, because they really should have something to show us this year more than Assassin's Creed, and hopefully more than Skull and Bones, right?
Yeah, well, that one doesn't seem to be hitting your interest anymore, but the Assassin's Creed is for me.
Oh man, Mirage looks like it'll be an amazing game. I can't wait to see where Mirage is at. But when it comes to Skull and Bones, a little bit more hesitant on that one, right? Like, it's been in development for so long, and even the developers themselves are a little worried about that. But what not to be worried about, it seems to be the creators of Division 2 working on a Star Wars title, which is very exciting. However, it does sound like Star Wars is going to be its own spin-off. It's not going to be anybody we're kind of used to, right? So we'll see. It says here Star Wars game will be a unique, and it will tell a captivating story featuring a set of characters that players can relate to and connect with. But it doesn't sound like it's anybody that familiar, Scott. I think we're kind of getting into the world of like Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order from Respawn, where we get in Cal, right? Where it's a brand new character. We're kind of getting into unfamiliar territory, which then gives them the ability to branch out and tell a new story.
I like that so much better. You know, think of the Force Unleashed, Starkiller. That was his big debut, and they were able to just write whatever they wanted into the story.
Where is another Force Unleashed game?
Oh man, it must be well over a decade now since the last one.
Yeah, it's been quite a while now, and it would be nice to see that come back. It's long overdue, I think, to get that franchise back. Do you think we'll ever see it return, Scott?
I hope so, but I don't know if it'll be in the the current generation. I think it'll be something, a callback to nostalgia.
Yeah,
probably on the next generation.
So obviously here Jillian is talking about how it's going to be a big year for Ubisoft, but not necessarily for the game. We might get, I don't know if we'll even get a peek at the game, to be honest. They're looking at building the team internally still and growing to make a bigger game. So it sounds like they're still years off. Scott, prediction as to when we might actually see anything of Ubisoft's next Star Wars game.
I think maybe if we see a teaser by the time of next Game Awards, I think that might line up a little bit. Just a little bit of a teaser, nothing too deep.
No, for sure. Oh man, really? That's oof. Yeah, I think that
it's
kind of
quite
makes
far
sense.
out there.
It is, but it's not when you look. I think when you take a look at where Ubisoft Massive is working at right now, right? They're working on Frontiers of Pandora, so we're gonna be all hands on deck for that, and then also the second team working on this Star Wars title. And of course, being Ubisoft, we know it's not a point A to point B linear story. It's going to be this massive open world thing that'll take hundreds of hours, right? And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but at the same time, I don't see anything small coming out of Ubisoft anymore at all.
No, well, it doesn't always excite me now for the collectathons. It's something I'm discovering as I go on now. I've played so much of those.
You know where it really kind of started to fall off with me was Far Cry 6. We got into that game and it was just, man, it just kind of felt like it kept going and kept going. And then you got into Assassin's Creed Valhalla, keep coming back to Valhalla because that's really where they keep pumping out the content. We did get new content with Far Cry 6, but it was really out there and different and then just didn't really call to me. And then I was able to get back into Valhalla, wrap that up. So
was not the same as the Blood Neon Dragon or whatever that was from Fallout 3. That was
Blood Dragon back in was it Far Cry 3? It was Far Cry 3, right? We got Blood Dragon.
I think it was 3. Yeah,
the neon experience.
I loved that one. That was so much fun.
Yeah, quite the spin-off, right? And they always seem to do that when they get into Far Cry expansions. They just go off in this whole other world. But to me, I like something a little bit more grounded. Far Cry 3 I thought was an absolutely incredible game. Probably one of my favorite Far Cry games. I know a lot of people do talk a lot about Far Cry 2. But for me, that's where it is. 2
was my introduction, and it certainly has its own strengths that I don't think they've mirrored in new releases even. But when it comes to the past Far Cry, I have to agree it's Primal.
Primal is a good one. Where is Primal 2?
That's a good question. Yeah.
Right? I don't think we need that up. Yeah, we don't need Far Cry 7. We need Far Cry Primal 2, I think is what we really need, right? Man, yeah, that'd be cool. But yeah, getting back to Pandora here, Frontiers of Pandora from Ubisoft and their first Avatar game. I'm very excited. It looks cool. A lot of hope and expectations. It was supposed to launch with the movie. I think that's where that was supposed to go, and getting into that. And then now, obviously, Star Wars coming around too with Ubisoft. Ubisoft's just a massive company, a huge amount of studios. So always loss on the go, but lots of concern too, because we saw Ghost Recon just kind of fizzle out after Breakpoint, and a lot of concerns over there. If you're a fan of Ghost Recon, where's that franchise lie, right? Where's X Defiant? Where is this game? Where's that game? Where's Beyond Good and Evil 2, Scott? Like, it's just the list goes on, man. The list goes on. But we should move on to PlayStation patents. New Sony is as they're deep and diving into the cloud gaming ecosphere there, Scott. We're moving away into where I think Sony's future is going to start building upon. I think they're starting to see the rise of Xbox and cloud gaming over there. And Sony is starting to dabble into their streaming side with the new tier of PlayStation Plus and what that model looks like. But now we got a new patent as well, stating that we'll be getting some more looks into the future of cloud gaming with them. This comes from David over PSU. A new Sony patent discovered by Very Alley Gaming shows the company looking deeper into cloud gaming, and this new patent describes a pass-through device players could use in conjunction with the preferred streaming stick to play games through PlayStation Plus. So there's a bit of a model there already with PlayStation Now, which was the past. Now we get into this new tier system, which is a bit of a confusing mess, unfortunately, when it comes to working with PlayStation's new tiered system of PlayStation Plus. But this new pass-through device could be Sony's chosen method of combating the kind of reach Microsoft currently has with Xbox cloud gaming. It's already possible to simply download an app on your smart TV and play Game Pass games with connected controller through streaming. This new pass-through device seems to be Sony's way of having its own piece of hardware, and it could sell. It also looks like the pass-through device will be outfitted with Bluetooth for you to connect your controller, a PS5 controller perhaps, right? So now instead of buying a PlayStation 5,
can I play it with an Xbox controller?
That's...
As I've been enjoying on PC.
Right? There is that opportunity as well. You're starting to see Sony branch out in the world of Steam, finally, thankfully, is I think the biggest thing, right? A lot of PC gamers now have the ability to tap into PlayStation titles that they've never played before. So this opens up that opportunity. All of a sudden now we get this device that allows you to stream the PlayStation games instead of having to go out and try and find a PS5 right now, because you still can't find them, Scott. Right? And then tap in with the controller. Yeah, I believe they're still hard to find. The people are still struggling to get their hands on a PS5, which is too bad, because what a piece of hardware, what a platform that is. But now we get into this new streaming setup. Man, oh man, that's pretty wild to be able to do this, which is fantastic, I think. And it shows Sony looking to get into the future of their company a little bit further as well, and branch out from just the hardware. Before, you could only get, right, you had to get a PS2, you had to get a PS3, PS4, now we're into a PS5. But now they're looking at other opportunities, how people can play PlayStation games. I think that's where Sony needs to kind of diversify a little bit and catch up, honestly, where Xbox is at.
Yeah, they're letting Xbox kind of lead the push into this whole cloud idea, but let's not forget we're about 2 weeks out from Stadia shutting.
Oh man, speaking of cloud gaming, yeah, there's another one. January 18th, I believe, is the day they shut down. So that's Scott, did you see that one coming? Did you really see Stadia shutting down?
I didn't think it would shut down, not just simply shut the doors, turn the lights off.
Yeah, no, that was it was unfortunate news. I saw the writing on the wall.
Guilt is gone forever.
Tequila Works, I believe, is bringing Guilt over to other platforms.
So, okay.
Yeah,
I'm happy to hear that. That was a good one.
It was a fantastic game, but yeah, it was one of the very few Stadia exclusives, right? So it allowed them to branch out a little bit. And
that other one was Hello Engineer. That was not the winner.
No, not at all. But now we get into PlayStation and Sony branching out and looking for their own streaming device. And now it's got to come in a lot cheaper than too, Scott. Like when we purchased Stadia as prime example, just talking about them, dude, we got them for like $150 with the controller. Yeah. Like with the controller, man. So now all of a sudden, instead of spending, say, $600, $700 for a PS5, you buy this $100 box, and now you're streaming all the PlayStation games instead. There's an opportunity to branch out in a massive way, right? Where Xbox they're already on with Game Pass on PC. They're on LG TVs, I believe it is. No, sorry, Samsung TVs. I knew it was on one of the television manufacturers. So they're going to Samsung as well. So they're partnering up with them. So all new Samsung devices or televisions have the Game Pass app already installed on the platform. So that's like, here's Xbox forward thinking already, Scott, years ago, how to line themselves up. And that's what I talked about. They do care about the Xbox itself, but they really want you to tap into Game Pass. And this is where Sony now needs to catch up. Not only do they need this device, Scott, but I think they just need to put out an app that allows you to stream just like you do with Xbox Cloud, right?
That's what I'm wondering. What's the software side of that going to look like? Because currently I think you can only stream very select titles through PlayStation Plus. So will this be kind of opening the door to the developers get to decide if you can cloud stream? Will that just be a standard across the board? I'm curious.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions going on, but this patent goes back before the launch of the PlayStation 5. Before the system switched over to the PlayStation tier structure we're into now. So this is something, this is a bit of an old patent, but it's neat to see that where they're thinking, forward thinking, and how do they incorporate that. So all of a sudden now, Scott, maybe you buy this device for $100 and then they get you at the premium tier for PlayStation Plus, and then away you go, right? So anything that comes over the PlayStation Premium system or platform tiered, then gives you the ability to just stream that game, no longer requiring you to have a PlayStation 5. You don't need, dude, the PlayStation 5 is like this, and I love it, but it is massive. And at the point where I actually have to lay it down because it won't fit in my TV stand, right? So it's flat. Yeah. So But either way, it gives you the ability now just to do a couple other things.
I like my mini fridge.
That's right. Absolutely. Scott, what else I like is Hitman 3 gets a new name and 2 free games with it. Let's go some Owen over at Polygon. Interesting little spin of events here. Hitman 3, the 2021 sequel to IO Interactive's episodic reboot of the stealth action franchise, will rebrand as Hitman World of Assassination. The change is not merely cosmetic. Preceding games Hitman 2016 and Hitman 2 2018 will become free to Hitman 3 owners as their content is absorbed into a single live service game. Here's the restructure, Scott. Hitman, it's funny because we just talked about this yesterday, Hitman, and how they started off episodic with the reboot. Didn't really kind of click, right? Like it worked, but people wanted more. They wanted it faster. And then instead of we get one piece of one part of the game, one episode for a month, and then like second month we get episode 2. Kind of how you kind of catch a bit of a TV show, right? Where you get one episode this week and you get another episode next week. And Hitman kind of followed that formula and then moved into Hitman 2. They just gave you the game, right? And then Hitman 3, now we just get the game as well. And now we're switching over to this live service adaptation. And it kind of makes me a little nervous, to be honest, because when you get a new game announcement, you're like, this is great. But if you don't have a new game, Scott, it's just a service. You're just getting more content. Is that enough to bring the hype? Right? You lose that bit of the hype build. Okay, Hitman 3 is done. We're now about to get Freelancer game mode, which looks incredible. Like this is their spin on a roguelike experience for Hitman. Can't say I really saw that one coming, but I sure am excited and nervous to play it. I'm nervous because I just suck at roguelike games, Scott.
I'm wondering where does the sniper challenges fit into this too, because that's where Hitman 2 confused me. I believe it was 2. Do I have this version, or this half version?
Right, yeah. So this means that both Hitman 1 and Hitman 2 will be delisted from sale, no longer available as standalone titles. Players who own either will still be able to access and play them as they always have, IO said in a blog post. Essentially, these two changes will mean that all new players and existing Hitman 3 owners will have the same base content ownership, IO said. There will be no confusion over which edition to buy, what content you own, how to redeem legacy packs or import locations, etc. We're done with that, end quote. Scott, thank God.
They decided to do away with all of it. It's just Hitman World of Assassination now.
Yeah. And away you go. You can go all the way back and start from the very beginning and work your way through, which I highly recommend. Do not start at 3 if you have not played Hitman. Start at the very beginning, work your way through all 3 games, and have a blast, because it ties up the story, right? In Hitman 3.
Oh, Hitman 3 now refers to Blood Bunny.
Yeah, right? Oh, man. So then here's the other question, Scott. Where do we lie now with the future of Hitman?
Yeah, is this going to be a break? I don't believe a Hitman 4 was planned or teased or talked about, really. But no. I have to imagine it's coming eventually.
It's got to be in discussion of some sort, right? Or do they keep it going as a live service game instead? This is where I kind of get into a bit of concern. But IO also is working on 007. So it's not like they're not doing anything at all. They are, well, not that they wouldn't just stop completely, but how do we get our Hitman content? I'm a huge Hitman fan. We both are. I've been there from day one, all the way back to the original PC game. Played them all, including the Hitman Go and the sniper games. Wow. Yeah, I played them. Dude, I love this franchise, right? So for me, I want to, does the drip feed formula work for a live service experience with Hitman? Or are we better off to take a break, wait for Hitman 4, build that hype again? Because Hitman 3 is IO's most successful Hitman title.
Is it? I'm not terribly surprised there. It did kind of blow up in popularity.
It did, yeah. And it was fantastic to see. So that's very exciting. And we'll see what the future holds. But we do know we're also getting the 007, which I think is fantastic to give it to IO, the creators of such an open sandbox experience of taking out your targets, that the opportunities now are really going to be able to kind of be presented in a new way for 007. Because when's the last?
I cannot wait.
It'd be nice to see a good James Bond game come back, because it's been a long time.
I want it to be like watching Casino Royale.
Oh man,
I don't want it to follow the events of Casino Royale necessarily, but I just want it to be that kind of game.
Yeah. Speaking of new games, though, Scott, Payday 3 is the same game on consoles and PC. Let's go some Stephen right over at GameSpot. Fans have been waiting a long time for the emergence of Payday 3, and we finally have some new details. Per an announcement posted on the game's Steam page, we now know that Payday 3 will be the same game on PC and consoles. This is apparently thanks to the fact that the game is being made in Unreal Engine 5, Scott. That's the biggest thing.
Okay.
Right? It gives the developers over there at Starbreeze the opportunity now to, instead of having to worry about what port goes where, they just build the game out. And then Unreal Engine has the ability, if I'm not a developer, so bear with me here, obviously, but I believe it now just gives them the ability to port it over here and port it over there, but they're building essentially the same game. Besides that, a short Q&A confirms that Payday 3 will take place in New York and will feature the return of the franchise's original gang from Payday 1. It also says that the game will be available on PlayStation and Xbox, though it's not clear if that includes previous gen consoles or not. Scott, if I had to predict that right now, I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I'm thinking no. We're going to have to leave them in the past eventually.
I'm afraid so. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna see anything for Payday 3 on PS4 or the Xbox One. I think it'll be on next gen, or what I'm gonna be calling now, I guess, current gen, with the Xbox Series X and S and the PlayStation 5, as well as PC. They want to push. Starbreeze wants to push the envelope here with Payday 3, and I think holding back to last gen consoles is only going to hurt them in doing so. So they need to kind of pick it up, right? They did have some turmoil and some issues going on over at the studio. A lot of it comes back to Overkill's The Walking Dead. It wasn't that successful, didn't work out that well, but they have been picked up by Koch Media, who is now helping them with Payday 3. So we'll see when we get the game, but it's nice to see Payday 3 come back. Have you played a Payday game, Scott?
No. I've seen lots of 2. But I've never actually played it myself. I'm very curious.
So I've played very little of 2. The problem is you need to play this with friends, and all my friends have like moved on, and it was just me. And I'm like, I'm not gonna jump into this by myself. It's just not gonna happen, right? It's one of those things. What's not gonna happen as well, Scott, is that the Netflix Assassin's Creed TV series loses the showrunner due to differences in vision. That comes at a disappointment. Man, this now has me real nervous for the Assassin's Creed television show that we're going to get over on Netflix. This is Eddie and Makuch again over at GameSpot. The upcoming Assassin's Creed TV series for Netflix has lost the showrunner due to a difference in vision for the project. It was big news in 2022 when Die Hard and The Fugitive writer Jeb Stewart came on board for the Assassin's Creed series, but he's now leaving. Oh, Scott. I don't know, man. Right there kind of makes me a little nervous. He says that the show is in good hands and we can expect good things, but man, you've seen the Assassin's Creed movie? That wasn't good. Like
I didn't.
Well, don't. There's a lot of struggles and a lot of unfortunate things happening with Assassin's Creed getting adapted over onto movies. Didn't work. Television now has me a little concerned, right? Mirage though looks incredible, so high hopes for the next game, but definitely a little concerned when it comes to the future of transmedia for Assassin's Creed. I get they want to branch out, but sometimes it just doesn't work. But we'll see where that lies. Scott, just like that, my friend, show's over. Everybody, thank you so much for hanging out with us. This has been ITG Daily, the show that brings you the hottest in gaming news. You can always join us live over on Twitch as well as YouTube at the official ITG. If you can't join us live, hit us up later. InsideTheGame.ca podcast services and TV streaming networks around the globe. Until tomorrow, everybody, I'm Drew. That's Scott, and we'll see you inside the game.